Now, in every book we have read, that has never been said. That's why I said, baby, that Negro Tony Turner, what his name, TT? Oh, he giving up the T.
Hello, black hole. See this brother winning, man. A-R-E. Hey, look, what is your win, big? What is your win, big?
Well, hello there, love bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share the Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. Today's looky would be our Michelle Red Lip. And if you are not already a part of our book club, please hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube. And for a monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes you, can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, let's start talking about the most salacious book we have ever read. Ever! Now, it's a Motown book, y'all, but hold on to your stockings because, baby, this book is everything. Deliver Us from Temptation. The tragic and shocking story of the Temptations and Motown by Tony Turner. Man, y'all, if y'all hear something snorting in the background and moving around, little barks and squeaks and stuff like that, that's my puppy. It's early June 1991. I am boarding a flight bound for Detroit, preparing to say my final farewell to the man who was, for all intents and purposes, my godfather. The man I called the voice of the Temptations, David Ruffin. 25 years have passed since I first made this journey to the Motor City. 25 years since that summer of '66 when I cheerfully waved goodbye to my mother, leaned back in my seat, and looked forward to 2 weeks of fun and adventure with Florence Ballard, original lead singer of the Supremes and the rest of the Motown family, including, of course, those tempting temptations with whom Flo had been telling me so much about ever since I'd first met her a year and a half earlier. I was 12 when I first met Flo Ballard, and she whisked me off to the Ed Sullivan Theater to New York so she could introduce me to her Supremes sisters. I can still remember the day as clearly as if it were yesterday. The way she stood in the middle of a big, fancy midtown department store lobby looking so grand with all her bags and furs around her and out of the blue sky asked me, a complete stranger, to get her a cab. The way she acted like I should know who she was because she was a Supreme. And they had just had 3 #1 hit records in a row. I remember thinking that Flo was just too fabulous for words because as a kid growing up in Harlem, I had never seen anyone quite like her. But then walking into the Ed Sullivan Theater with her for the first time, I realized that there was a whole world of glamorous young black people just like her. A world of women with furs and shopping bags and guys in suits with wads of money. This was the world I was dreaming of as I boarded that plane with my suitcase full of new summer outfits and my head full of limos and mansions. I have always been absolutely in love with old Hollywood. The glamour of it all. The beautiful red lips. Beautiful hair. Now, y'all, one day I'm going to get this hair together. But I'm always in limbo as to whether I'm going to cut this shit off or let it grow. Okay? Because these edges always be on struggle. Whenever I'm out in Atlanta, and you see this a lot in Atlanta, I don't care if the girl is older than me or younger than me. But when I see a beautiful black woman getting out of a luxury car, giving it to me from head to mother toe, you hear me? I always be like, mama, you giving it today. No, I'm not looking to see if her toenail polish is chipped. I'm just giving her kudos as to being that friggin' fabulous. Oh, I love it. And then when they get older and they put that gold lame hair on, I'll be like, yes, girl. Now, they may all look alike, okay? Because all black women with that gold lame hair, I'll be like, damn, do y'all even got to all wear the same Mary J. Blige wig? Y'all can't get a new wig? I just love that Hollywood, beautiful glamour that black people project when they got it, because we know when they ain't got it. Ooh, this nigga flaking. Now it's 1991, and I've made this journey to Detroit many times since that first time 25 years ago when Flo first invited me to Hitsville, USA, and to the annual Motown Company picnic on Belle Isle. That summer was when I really got to meet the whole Motown family. At least that's the way the company seemed at the time, like a big happy family of aunts, uncles. Okay, he didn't forgot to say the gunkles, but okay, we're gonna move on. Cousins, sisters, who all lived in the same neighborhood or had come from the same projects. And at the center of it all was the Gordy clan, Berry Gordy, his parents, and all his sisters and brothers. The Gordys had always done well in business, and they had always lived well. In fact, years earlier, Barry's father had been driven out of Georgia because, as a cotton farmer and businessman, he'd made so much money, the white people got jealous. Now, in every book we have read, that has never been said. That's why I said, baby, that Negro Tony Turner, what his name, TT? Oh, he giving up the tea. Let me tell you right quick, okay? So my paternal grandmother was such a firecracker. Scorpio child. My grandmother was such a firecracker that they ran her out of South Carolina. That's how she ended up in Washington, D.C., where you know I am from, okay? Because they ran her up out of there because she was around there kicking all the ninjas' butts. My grandmother ain't never have a problem with standing toe-to-toe with a ninja. My grandmother used to stand 5'2", 5'3", something like that, ball her fist up, and be like, all right, motherfucker. You want it, I'm gonna give it to you. Just like Mick, a Scorpio, ain't scared of a Tyrannosaurus. You hear me? They will fight it. If you stand in front of them like you want the ninja, oh, they will give it to you. That was how the Gordys ended up in Detroit. A lot of people at Motown had come up from the Deep South, or at least their families had. Most of those families had come north looking to make some money working on the assembly line, and most were still praying for the day they could take a rest from it all. The Gordys, on the other hand, had come with cash and put it to work for them. Each member of the family had religiously put away money every week into a family credit union. So when Barry wanted to start his first record label, he just had to go to a family meeting, like a board meeting, present his proposal, and request the $800 he needed to get it started. The family was like a company, and the company was like a family. Or so it seemed. Motown put their budding stars on a kind of Ford-style image-making production line. The company took in kids full of hopes and dreams and raw talent. They molded and scolded them, handled their books, managed them, choreographed them, styled their stage outfits, got their teeth fixed, taught them how to speak nicely, which fork to use, what to say in an interview, and even more important, what not to say, and then sent them out as budding stars, Motown's future superstars. These were the days of milk and honey, the days of new houses, new cars, expensive furs, and jewels. Most of these kids were coming very quickly from nothing into a whole lot of everything, and they all wanted to be picked to record the next sure-to-be-a-hit song so they could buy more, drive a slicker car, and just plain have more money. That summer of 1966 was serenaded by Motown hits, all with the same Motown sound, the sound of young America, they called it. Of course, I knew all the Temptations hits. I could sing along to practically every one of their songs. Their first hit The way you do the things you do. Oh, baby, you got a smile so bright. Ooh, ooh, you know you could have been a candle. Hey, you're holding me so tight. Hey, you know you could have been a handle. Well, we could have been anything that you wanted to, and I can tell the way you do the things you do. Oh, baby, they might not be the exact words, but you ninjas know where I'm coming from. The Way You Do the Things You Do was cut in '64 after Smokey beat Barry in a songwriting contest to see who could come up with the most likely to make it song for the group. I'd heard all about the Temps from Flo because the Supremes and the Temps were very close, but they were just names and voices to me. Eddie Kendricks, the one with the high falsetto voice on The Way You Do the Things You Do. David Ruffin, who sang lead on the 1965 smash hit Million Seller. Dun, 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 dun. I've got sunshine on a cloudy day. David Ruffin, who sang lead on the 1965 smash hit Million Seller, My Girl, and most of their other hits too. Melvin Franklin with the impossibly deep bass voice, Paul Wiliams, and Otis Wiliams. So when I met them at the picnic, Flo started explaining, don't you remember I told you that Eddie Kendricks and Paul Wiliams groups were called the Primes and we were the Primettes. We were their sister group. We know that to be true from the Murray Wilson book, okay? We just know that to be true just because of Motown history, period, right? And, you know, what you will find in this book club, if you are new, that's him squeaking his toy. But what you will find is that because we've read so many books, we have no problem with calling out the BS. And we do that by comparing notes, okay? So far, everything that he has said in this book is true, okay? But the little tidbits that he's giving us is astounding. We were their sister group. They helped me get it all started. Remember, before that, I used to sing with the Primes as the featured female singer. Did I know that? Did we know that? It was Paul Honey who asked Diana to join us. And she pointed out a slightly drunk-looking man who I'd seen acting very belligerent all afternoon. I wondered if she was thanking him or blaming him for the introduction. That's Paul, honey. And when a young dude, TT, looks over, he see Paul over there acting a ninja because he is drunk off his ass off the dark liquor. I don't like them belligerent drunks, okay? I also don't like a belligerent drunk with a woody. Look. You know what it's like when you're dealing with one of them old belligerent drunks, okay? He been out all night. You've been calling him, excuse me, are you coming home tonight? Are you ever going to come home? And you only pressing him because you know the later he stay out, the drunker he going to be, and the more irritating he going to be when he get in the house. He going to be tapping you on the shoulder like, give me some. And it don't even be working, okay? If you know what I'm saying, blink. It don't even be working right, but it's just something in them that they got to, give me some, baby. Flo gave me the whole history of the Temps. How Eddie and Paul were childhood friends and had come up together from Alabama to try and make it in the music business. How Eddie, a mama's boy, as Flo called him, had become homesick and discouraged and gone back south until Paul convinced him to return to Detroit. Oh, Eddie Kendricks, a mama's boy? Flo gave me the whole history of the Temps. How Eddie and Paul were childhood friends and had come up together from Alabama to try and make it in the music business. How Eddie, a mama's boy, as Flo called him, had become homesick and discouraged and gone back south until Paul convinced him to return to Detroit. Now that explains his loyalty to Paul. Because remember, in the movie, he was tore up when they was like, we got to get rid of that drunk. But the Temptations movie neglected to tell us that when he left the Temptations and he went on to do other business endeavors, although his finances were messed up, Berry Gordy did swoop in like he would do and help him financially with. But how much money is Berry Gordy expected to give Paul Wiliams when Paul Wiliams is not financially helping himself? How it just so happened that just as Eddie got back to Detroit, Otis Wiliams' group, The Distance, had made a date for an audition at Motown and were suddenly 2 members short. How Otis asked Eddie and Paul of the Primes to join up with what was left of The Distance, and how when Barry heard the result, he signed them right away to his miracle label. If it's a hit, it's a miracle. They named themselves the Elgins, but since there was another group called the Elgins, they had to find a new name fast. And nothing seemed more appropriate for a group with their sexy, dashing image than the Temptations. You better say it. Did you know that all the Temptations stood over 6 feet? You mean to tell me you got 5 black men standing 6 feet tall and them tight, Temptations pants where you could see the what is that? What is that? What is that supposed to be right there? Am I supposed to be able to see that? Ooh, girl, we got some tea on that later. Hold tight. Looking back at it now, I wondered how Otis Wiliams can claim that he's the founding member and leader of the Temptations. He founded The Distance as a doo-wop group when he was about 15. Paul Wiliams founded the Primes down in Alabama. In a sense, the Temps was really a joint venture. Besides, the Primes taught The Distance everything they knew. All the dance steps that Paul had perfected, all the sophisticated harmonies that Eddie and Paul had developed together. When they started recording with Motown, it was Paul and Eddie who switched off on leads until David Ruffin joined the group, replacing former Distant Al Eldridge Bryant. In 1963. That was when Paul started to lose his leads. Ooh, listen, you will never find a group quite as astounding as the Temptations, except for the New Edition. The original New Edition can easily have had 3 lead singers, just like the Temptations. You got Ricky Bell, Bobby Brown, and Ralph Tresvant. 3 lead singers, easily. Okay? The Temptations, David Ruffin, Eddie Kendricks, Paul Wiliams, easily. I don't know any group, or if I'm wrong, put it below, but I don't know any group that has 3 lead singers. I'm talking about only the Ninjas, okay? Because, in Vogue, remember them dumb bitches that let their whole life go just because they couldn't get along? Fuck that. Let's get to the money. I don't care if I don't like you, Dawn. I don't care if Maxine be coming in here and her pussy be stinking. I don't know if that lady be stinking. I don't know that lady like that. But I don't care about that. I don't care if, what's her name, Terry don't wear deodorant. I don't care about none of that. Let's get to the money. If you know any male groups where you have 3 lead singers, you let me know. But to me, the only group that equates the Temptations is the New Edition. I was thrilled to finally see the Temps up on a stage. Eddie and David were electrifying together. You could see the competition between them bouncing back and forth, and their vastly different styles made it one hell of a show. Quite different from the Supremes or any other of the girl group shows. The Temptations weren't sexy and demure like the Vandellas. They were sexy and hot. Give it to me, TT. Oh, TT must have the propensity, to like a pickle. That's what I think. TT, do you like the pickles? The Temptations weren't sexy and demure like the Vandellas. They were sexy and hot. Their movements were quick, precise, and powerful. Ooh, you got a smile so bright. Woo-hoo, you could have been a candle. Oh! The way the guys rotated from mic to mic, it looked like they were just crashing into each other by a hair. Yes, baby, yes, you better give me that Temptation. I was always wondering why I was so fascinated by watching those men. It was because I was always wondering, are they going to miss a step? Are they going to trip on a wire? Are they going to fight each other on stage? Clash of the Titans or something. Wow! Ruffin was doing splits and flips to top even the great James Brown and their famous Super Cool Temptations walk, invented by Charlie Atkins, always got the crowd on its feet. It was like there was a fire in the house. When it was all over, each of those guys ended up with 2 or 3 women hanging around his neck. The Temptations were, as Paul Wiliams used to say, selling sex. They worked on that with their choreographer, their attitude, their delivery, their tight jacket outfit. Acknowledge them suits, baby. They was doing it to me. It was something about the way that them Temptation suits fitted them. Even when everybody started wearing them dumbass Steve Harvey suits, you like, bruh, that's way too big. Like now that people are actually wearing fitted clothes, I be like saying to myself, why was they doing that? Why was them rappers wearing 4XL t-shirts? They had the added benefit of Eddie's irresistibly good looks, David's irresistible voice. As I would forever describe the David Ruffin's voice, it's like a man who smoked 100 packs of cigarettes a day, reaching for that high note, but never quite getting it. But it sounds and feels so good. Now I heard a crying man was half a man with no sense of pride. David had been a drummer before replacing Al Bryant in the Temps. Originally, when AJ looked like he was fading out of the group, it was David's brother, Jimmy Ruffin, who was supposed to replace him. He had even been promised the job. Ninja, what? Did y'all know that? I didn't know that.
Oh,